Wow, we made it back
I'm nervous.
after like how long was it?
2 months.
2 months. It feels a lot longer. So we're back. Welcome back to Hustle and So. If you guys first time tuning in,
I am like inside feels weird.
it's different. It's different. It took us so long to set this up. It took us forever to figure out how to get our audio to work. I still don't know if it's gonna sound right, but I hope it does.
I just sat here the whole time.
We have a new setup. Arlene has a big screen staring at her right there. I just have a camera that I don't know what I look like. I don't even know if the camera's on, so I hope it is. I've been wanting to do this again for so long just because I feel like we had something, and I think it'd be a shame to not continue it.
Yeah.
And I know it was a little difficult because you just had a baby. We just had a baby, but you physically pushed out a baby. And
Kind of.
that in itself was super crazy, hectic, traumatic, beautiful at the same time. And I think that's something that we haven't really talked about because of COVID, we haven't talked to anybody about this. Like we literally told like my sister, my parents, and a couple of your cousins.
My parents.
But outside of that, like we haven't really talked about it.
No. It's hard for me to talk about it.
It's a little difficult. I mean, it was set up to be such a perfect play, and everything did not go how you thought it'd go.
Nope.
I guess, yeah, just dive into it. I mean, we had...
The baby.
You can hear the baby in the background. So, pause. So not even 2 minutes in, and we already got our first baby interruptions. We're going to try to get as much as we can in, a short amount of time at least.
And also the little freaking fire alarm thing keeps going off.
Yeah, we're just a mess today. We're back at it. This is like a fresh take. Consider this episode number 1.
Okay, so I think I was saying, I don't know, whatever, you can cut it. I was saying that we had a really good pregnancy despite being pregnant during COVID. As we talked about in one of our previous episodes, we figured out a way to enjoy our pregnancy, whether it was just taking trips on our own, whether it was just having photo shoots on our own, going out to eat. It was just like the little things that really, really made it memorable and fun for us. I guess we can start on Soul's due date. She was due on November 6th.
Yeah.
And she didn't come anytime near that. We had a feeling that she was going to be here like way before that, like near Halloween.
The doctor gave us signs like, I don't think she's gonna make it to 40 weeks. We think she's gonna be earlier. You're good. Your everything looks perfect. Like you should be having the baby anytime, any day now.
Yeah, so we got super excited, and obviously like every day that went by, we were just waiting and like waiting for the moment, and it just never came. So I started getting a little stressed out. It didn't help that people were calling, like my family was calling me, or like people were just texting us asking like, is Soul here yet?
Yeah.
Things
Adding
like
more
that.
pressure.
Adding more pressure, like setting guest dates and things like that, which is like super normal because I feel like everyone does that for everyone's pregnancy. But I think for everything that we had gone through, it was just adding a lot more stress on me. Shit hit the fan on the Saturday before Soul was actually born.
Yeah.
We were sitting here. We had like a movie night, and I really wanted hot chocolate. So I texted my parents, and I was like, can you guys bring me hot chocolate? And so they brought me hot chocolate with whole milk. And it's so funny because I drank the hot chocolate, and that night I started feeling itchy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, is it because we don't drink whole milk? Like we drink almond milk. We don't drink like cow milk. Can I be allergic, or can I be having some like funny reaction to like, I'm getting itchy now, just thinking about it. Funny reaction to the whole milk. And I kind of like didn't think about it, put it in the back of my head, and we like fell asleep the night, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it was Sunday. Sunday night comes along, and I'm just so freaking itchy. And I think I have a high pain tolerance. Well, after this story, you probably think I don't have a high pain tolerance. But I thought I had a high pain tolerance. So I was like, I don't know like why I'm so itchy. It was just really, really bad. Pero me aguanté. Like I always just kind of like go the furthest that I can, and then it got really bad like at 3 a.m. that night.
So it's crazy enough to be pregnant. It's crazy enough to have this going on. But like as a partner, like speaking from the male standpoint or the partner standpoint, when she had that allergic reaction and she's like, I'm itchy, like she's crying hysterically, like she's like, my insides, like I can't take it, and I'm just like, what the fuck do I do? Like I literally have no idea. There's no fucking research we did online. We didn't expect for any of this stuff. So I'm like, yo, let's just call the hospital. You know,
and we started Googling stuff, and then like it was like
It's the worst thing to Google though. Like at 3 a.m. it's like you have cancer in your toe. Like it's the most trivial thing, and you think you have it. So we call the hospital like around 3 a.m.
And the fucking doctor on call was.
She was lucky fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't really give a fuck.
She didn't.
So we call, and
it wasn't my doctor.
I think the way it works, you call and they give you whoever's on call. They give you like ask the question, and then they're like, if it's urgent, they'll call your doctor. even if it's like 3 a.m., they'll call your doctor, wake them up, and then the doctor will call you back.
Yeah.
But for our situation, I don't think they classified it as urgent.
No, yeah, they did.
So they gave us the doctor on call. And I was like, you know what? My partner is super itchy. She's like having this crazy rash, this reaction. She's like crying hysterically. Like, what do we do? Is the baby in danger? Like, do we go to the hospital? What's what? And we kind of gave them our symptoms. And I think we fucked up because we self-diagnosed ourselves with PUPS, is from what we read online.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what?
Which is like a pregnancy rash.
Yeah. And they're like, you know what? It sounds like it could be PUPS. You're right. And the only thing you can do is get Benadryl. And I'm like,
yeah,
is that
3 a.m.
safe? Like, how much can she take? She's like, just take Benadryl and call your doctor in the morning. And we're just like, what the fuck? You know, so we hung up. We figured it's not something we can go to the hospital. Like, we don't know what to do. We went to Downey. I don't know how I knew that the one in Downey was open
24/7.
24/7. So we rushed over there. You were crying in the car. I felt like
it was so bad.
Racing to the emergency room is how I felt like, because I didn't know if that would fix
And like,
you.
there's one thing, sorry to cut you off, but like, just to show how itchy it was, there's one thing, like, if you have a pica and like you're itchy in one spot, and like that's cool because that's tolerable.
It was your whole
right?
body.
It was literally my whole body. Like, my head itched, back here itched, my
your
eyes.
Insides is how you described it to me was so scary, because you're like, my insides feel like they're tearing apart, and you didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and I felt like I was on fire.
Yeah, and
I have photos. We can insert photos
Yeah.
of like my tummy. My eyes were like puffy, with like, it looked like I had red eyeshadow on the back of my like eyelids. All of this was itchy. My stomach was itchy. It had bumps.
Yeah.
And then right here was like bumpy, itchy, like just everything.
I was freaking out just as much as her, to be honest. So we get to CVS, we get the Benadryl. She pops 2 pills. It doesn't really do much. So we drive back home. By the time we get home, I think you felt a little bit better. But we had done I think I found like cornstarch and lemon, some of the things that I found online.
Baking soda.
And I don't know what the fuck I made.
I know.
Like a paste, and we tried that. You know, we did a ton of different things. But luckily, the Benadryl did kick in a little bit. We were able to sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
And the next morning, we called our doctor.
Yeah, I called my
We had an
OB.
appointment set for Tuesday. And we said, you know what? Is there any way we can come see you today? And they squeezed us in.
Yeah, on that Monday.
We went to the doctor, and the doctor kind of, same thing we said, it could be PUPS. And the problem with PUPS is there's nothing you can do to stop it. The only thing that can make it go away is to deliver the baby.
Yeah,
So-
and she said even after that, it can last a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But the quickest solution is delivering the baby.
Yeah. And we had already set the appointment for Tuesday, and Tuesday she said she was going to recommend an induction on Thursday. So she's like, if you're already having this rash, we can...
And I was 40 weeks.
You're 40
at
weeks
that
already.
point. Yeah.
They're like, we can schedule an induction for tonight at 2 a.m. And we're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like...
The week before, I had my weekly checkup, and I was already about 3 centimeters dilated
Yeah.
the week before, and I was about 75% effaced.
Yeah.
And in order to have your baby or to start delivering, you have to be 100% effaced, and you have to be 10 centimeters dilated. So in my head, I was like, we're already getting there,
We're on
right?
track.
We're on track. So I let her sweep my membranes. And again, like, I don't know, I have like this whole thing now against like doctors, and like if I were to have another kid, I'd probably do like a birthing center. Like Barry like doesn't like to hear this, but like I'm kind of traumatized. So she swept my membranes that night, and then we were like, we're gonna go home, we're gonna sleep, and then we're just gonna go to this induction at 2 a.m. and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So we come home, it was fine.
The rash had gone down a little bit at that point.
The rash had gone down. We came, we slept, we like watched a movie. My mom made me soup. Like, it was really, really chill. And then an hour before we're supposed to leave for the induction, I have a crazy rash attack. But this was probably the worst one I had. And I had another flare up after.
And
I
it's crazy
delivered the
because like
baby.
we had planned to leave the house like around midnight to get there by 2, have everything ready, but
Yeah.
you get anxiety, you're like, you
I
don't know
got
what to
really
do.
bad anxiety.
We got the rash hitting you, and we're just like, what the fuck do we do? Do we leave earlier? Do we try to go to the ER? Like, what is protocol? We don't know, because we've never heard of this. So we leave a little bit early. We take a Benadryl. We go to the hospital. By the time we get to the parking lot, she calms down. You feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I felt better by the time I got there.
We waited out. We go into our normal induction at 2 o'clock, and we just have
2 in the morning. Okay, guys.
We start at 2 a.m.
And that's that we didn't sleep the night before because of the rash. And then we went to the doctor, and then we took like an hour nap, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, rash attack. I can't take it. Like, let's just go to the induction. And it's like, all right, it's 2 a.m. all of a sudden.
So we go in, we tell the nurses and everybody, like, yo, this is the situation. She has this rash. We don't know what it is. We're assuming it's PUPS. But is there any way we can calm it down? So same thing. They really had no solution, but they hooked you up to all the IVs. They got you the Pitocin. They did all that kind of stuff. And luckily it subsided a little bit. And I think it has something to do with the IV that probably helped you.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but I'm just assuming because, I watch Grey's Anatomy, so I'm kind of like a doctor.
The setup was just so beautiful.
The setup was like magical. It had scenery to the city with the lights. I have a video of it. We'll put it out together. I had bought these little LED candles to set up around the room. Everything was dark. There was like John Legend music going on. Like everything was set.
We had a really like cool playlist for Soul Survival.
Yeah.
Our doula was in there with us. It was just Barry and our doula. Those were the only two people technically allowed, according to Cedar's hospital rules. The first nurse we got, she was all right. She was pretty cool. After the Pitocin hit, I started getting contractions, but I started feeling like mild, like baby contractions when we were still at the house, when we got to the parking lot. So once the Pitocin kicked in, I got contractions like immediately. It's
crazy because I had plans to like document the whole thing. Obviously, I had my cameras ready. I had everything, tripods and everything ready to go. But
everything
happened so fucking fast.
Yeah.
Like it's not what I expected. So we get in, they get you the Pitocin, and that shit works like instantly just because you were already like dilating. You're getting contractions. So then I get the birthing ball, I blow it up.
Yeah.
You're sitting down, you're standing up, we're moving, we're swaying. And there was really no time to grab a camera and document any of that shit.
When I was in labor, I literally went into a different world. Like my doula was there to support us. Yeah. But I kind of feel bad because I ended up like not even like listening to her.
You really said, everybody shut the fuck up and let me do me.
Yeah, I think
you said that verbatim.
Really? I said that out loud?
Like you were very like...
I don't remember.
You were like, don't touch me. To me. And I'm just like, all right, fuck it, I'll just stand right here.
I don't remember a lot of things, but I went into like this like Arlene world, and I was just like, you're gonna focus, and like it's gonna happen, and if it's gonna hurt, whatever, we're just gonna figure it out. So I remember just like bouncing on the ball like by myself, like, all right, figuring it out. I think I did a pretty good job, but shit just didn't pan out the way I expected it or like wanted to, because obviously it was an induction, so I do feel like everything was super rushed. But the contractions hit, they were painful.
Remind you, there was no epidural at this point.
Yeah, so I got to 6 centimeters, 7 centimeters.
We got to 6 centimeters, and I think what really messed us up is that we obviously went in at 2 a.m. We didn't have any sleep.
Yeah.
And you were physically exhausted. Like you were obviously contracting. You were going through all this pain, all the motions, and all you wanted to do was lay down.
I just wanted to lay down comfortably.
And I felt so bad because you physically said you couldn't lay down. It was too painful. And they told us, if you think...
And it's so weird. And I always tell you this because every time we watch YouTube videos or to prep for labor, or like when I see Instagram stories or stuff like that, like women are literally laying in the bed like with contractions, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like I just wanted to sit and stand. Like there was no way I could have laid and like actually had a contraction. Yeah. And I think that's why I wanted to lay down, because I just wanted to be comfortable or like sleep. I was tired. I was so tired.
And they told us like, yo, if you think this is bad, like after 6 centimeters, if we break your water, it's going to get 10 times worse. So if you want to get that epidural, we recommend doing it now. And our plan was always to go natural, but I think at that point it was just the exhaustion that hit so hard. Plus,
and I looked at you and I was just kind of like, you like, tell me what to do.
You kind of
remember?
You made me do the call, and I'm just like,
I was down for either one. Either way at the end when we finished the story, like, I felt everything. I really did. Like, I don't know. I hate when, like, people make their story feel like it's the worst thing on the planet when, like, other people have it worse. So I don't mean to do that at all. But personally, I feel like, from what I know about labor,
I think we labored every which way possible. Yeah. So we did. I made the call to get the epidural. I know we didn't plan on that, but I think at that point,
I literally looked at you and I was just kind of like, help me.
I saw the exhaustion in your eyes. I saw the tire. I saw everything, and I'm just like, you know what? It makes the most sense to get her comfortable at least for the next however long it takes.
I don't even know how many hours we had been in labor at that point. Yeah. Like at all. I just know that
it happened so fast.
We came in at 3 centimeters, and then out of nowhere, like all these contractions hit, and then we were at 6.
Yeah, we got to 6, and at that point we got the epidural. I remember because we went in, it was pitch black dark outside because the windows were all wide open. You could see the city, and then by the time we got the epidural, I think the sun started rising. So it had to be like 5, 6 in the morning at that point.
Okay, I think everybody's curious to know, like from a guy's point of view, before we finish this story because it gets worse. Like how bad was it? Because I don't know how to explain how bad it was.
What part?
I guess like the laboring, because that's truly what most of the laboring was.
I think you're good with pain, but you were very on your like very standoffish, very like, you know, me and our doula Jess had a plan. You know,
I didn't mean to. I apologize.
We had like the sways, the dancing, the breathing, the soothing words, all this shit, and you were just like, "Don't touch me, stop talking." So I'm just like, you're in the bouncing ball. I'm right behind you, just like in case you fall, in case you move. I'm here. I'm holding. You know, I don't know what to do. When we were swaying, I was like, I guess this is my role. But for the most part, I mean,
we have a really cute video of that too.
For the most part, I
don't know if you thought it was cute at that point.
I think you kind of took lead, obviously, and you led the entire way. I was just kind of there as support and in any way I could. But yeah, seeing you in pain, and it was just like, this is rough. But I think you took it pretty well pre-epidural. I think you had you not.
Shit's crazy.
I honestly think if we didn't have the induction at 2 a.m., if it was somewhere where we had some rest, I think
it would have been great.
I think you would have been able to do it with no epidural. Yeah. So we get the epidural around probably like 5, 6 in the morning because I remember the sun was coming up.
Oh, that's.
And I'm pretty sure they fucked up. I'm pretty sure they poked you twice.
Yeah. So you have to like bend forward to get the epidural.
And this is in between contractions. So like they have to.
And they didn't give a fuck about me having contractions.
They had to wait. They had to wait in between contractions to poke you, and then while you're having contractions, either they pull out or they like, I don't know what, but
they didn't, because I specifically remember being like, it's coming, and they're like, it's okay, it's okay, and I'm just like,
and I'm standing in front of her holding her as she bends forward, so I can't physically see the behind where they're poking her and shit, but it was the anesthesiologist and I'm assuming like a resident.
I don't know. After watching Grey's Anatomy, we feel like we know every single thing that happens in a hospital. So maybe I'm pretty sure
it was a resident, and she poked, and it was kind of like awkward, like it didn't work.
Okay, so I'm hovering over, like Barry's in front of me. We're like holding hands, and I'm just like, he needed to hold me because I was like not physically capable of like being forward, whatever. So she goes in one time, like Barry said, and I'm like, and she was kind of done, so I turn around and I see a needle and I see blood, and I look at Barry and I don't think they spoke Spanish. I hope they didn't, but I was like, I said something in Spanish like "no entró" or like
some shit like that, yeah.
Like probably something smart assy. And you were kind of like, I don't think so, but I don't think you wanted to say that because I was just gonna like, I'm about to like, they're in my back, they can like paralyze me.
Like I just see them getting all the gauze and like cleaning up the blood. I'm just like,
and like I for sure saw the needle in the back, so I knew that didn't go in the first time. So then the guy, he was kind of a dick, remember?
Super dickish.
And I was like, I can either go off or like that's my back, so like I can probably like should probably stay quiet. But he kept saying like, however, well, he just told me something.
He was just very like. Very rude, just like he didn't care. It's kind of like it's another fucking,
lady in pain. Like this is nothing to me.
And I got another one coming, so it's kind of whatever. Yeah.
So finally, I think they did it again, and then it worked. Whatever. And after that, we were chilling. I did nap a little bit, which was really nice. And then you napped, Jess napped, and then
it's crazy how the epidural just kicked in, and it was very like I said, you lay down, you nap, we napped.
I understand why women say like, don't be a superhero, like just get the epidural. Because
it's so night and day, and I think they came in, checked you every couple hours, and by the time it was like 10, 11 a.m., they're like, oh, you're basically about to have this kid.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so I just remember waking up, and so we had a nurse, Andre. He was so dope. He was a really good nurse.
Shout out to nurses, y'all. They do everything.
Yeah, they do everything. And it's so funny because I also thought he was like a perfect candidate for one of my friends.
He was definitely one of your friends' type.
And I was like, he's so her type, like in my head, laying down. But I was like, this is probably inappropriate to like say this like during my labor. So I just like, I think I was also like kind of like on high talk and like asking stupid questions and whatever. It was kind of funny at one point. So we woke up, and I remember like we all woke up at one point, and I told him, I was like, I think I'm ready. Like I think I'm ready. I couldn't feel anything.
I think they checked you, and then they're like, yeah, so you're about to have this kid.
They're like 10 centimeters. And I started crying, remember?
Yeah, we were like, yo, this is it. It's going to happen. And they were like, you're going to have a baby by lunchtime.
Excited. Yeah, and the OB comes in, and she's like, it was like 10, and she's like, the baby should be here by like noon. And we're like, oh my God. So I don't know how many hours that is because I'm bad at math, but we got there at 2 a.m. It was 10 a.m. and we were ready to go. We were so excited. That was probably like, what, 8 hours?
So we labored for that entire time. And then it's crazy because Andre kind of got us started as to like positioning your legs. Like this, let's practice pushing. And I didn't realize like
it was it.
The practice was really the start of you pushing. He was just like, get comfortable with it, get familiar with it.
And so once the OB comes, like she'll like guide you a little bit more.
I was holding your left leg and Andre was holding your right leg, and we kind of pushed you in like a crunch while you pushed, and we tried to figure out that maneuver. And then the OB came, and it went from being a practice run to being like the run
in like a matter of minutes, which is crazy.
So,
and maybe we're like super naive and like that's, I don't know.
I think we just like, I expected
it was our first time.
I expected to have opportunities to get video, to get photo, but everything was so hands on, everything was so like on the fly, and like there was no opportunity to do any of that.
The first hour went by and we were kind of like waiting to see if anything happened. Nothing happened. The hour went by so fast, and I was still like encouraged. I was like, let's go. Like, let's do this. Like, we're gonna pop this baby out right now. And I think
at that point you don't know how long this shit takes. Like, you don't know what's the average like birth.
Actually, and I don't remember 100%, but I think it was at the second hour that she was like, I think she did the ultrasound at the second hour, and she's like, oh, your baby's positioned like still like kind of like at your pelvis, like the head's like tilted. So she's like, I'm gonna try to like bring her out. And I was like, cool. So the second hour, every time we push, she would put her hand in there and like try to grab the baby out. And every single contraction.
Grimy.
After the second, and during the second hour, she was like, I think maybe the epidural is not letting you feel everything how you should be feeling it. And she's like, you had planned to go natural anyway.
So let's wean you off.
She's like, let's wean you off the epidural and see what happens.
It's crazy because at first she said, let's go 50%. You did 50% and...
Oh, yeah. I did 50% off.
Yeah, 50% epidural.
50% first. And...
Como nada, like nothing changed. So then...
What do you mean nothing changed? Oh, like, for the baby coming down, I thought the whole thing.
No, I remember at 50%, you were like, nothing really feels different.
Really?
You were fine. And then she was like, all right, well, let's lower it more. And I think she went down to 25% until she completely cut it. And at that point is when you felt it. And
I felt
she started telling you how to push, where to push, the direction. Like, it was different and you felt it all. Yeah. So we were kind of like, all right, this is kind of how we have to do it for the next hour.
Yeah. So no epidural, shoving her hand up there. Trying to take out the baby. The baby's not coming down. And then after that second hour, she looks at me and she's like, if the baby doesn't start making any progress, like, you might need a C-section.
No, that's at the third hour.
Into the third hour, going into the third hour.
Yeah.
And I just started crying. I was like...
That was the last thing we planned for. We didn't want that. I mean, when we went to the OB, every time was like, we don't want a C-section, and we want to minimize tearing if possible. Yeah. Those are the two things that we did it all. We did massages. The perineal massages.
Everything.
We did everything by the book, as you can imagine, and everything was just kind of going in a complete 360. Yeah. And it was like, this is not how we planned. This is not what we prepared for. We did everything. Like, how is this happening? What the fuck's going on?
Mm-hmm. So it was going into the third hour that she says that, and I started crying my eyes out and just freaked out. Our doula, she was like, no, like, you're gonna be fine, I think you freaked out. I freaked the fuck out
because you were hysterically crying, and it was just, you kind of almost gave up, and I'm just like, no, let's keep going.
Yeah, but I didn't give up. Like, I don't know how, like, and I don't even think pushing for 2 hours is like a long time. I don't know. Somebody tell me, comment below. Is it a long time? Is it not a long time? I have no idea, because I feel like I hear people have 72-hour labors and like 50-hour labors, but I think that's because they don't dilate. But
that's
in this
labors.
case,
that's not pushing.
Yeah. So point is that we're in the third hour, and she said that I might need a C-section. And I was like, I'm going to get this baby out. Like,
she said after 4 hours, they really recommend no longer to push and go for the C-section because it can damage you and the baby. Yeah. So
my insides.
So they're like, let's give it another hour, because she knew you really didn't want it. So she's like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah. So we go in for the third hour, and like, it was so emotional. Like, you're whispering in my ear, like, every time we're pushing, like, I forgot what, but you got this. Like,
she's coming. She's gonna be here. Like, we're gonna have a beautiful baby. Everything you could think of.
So I'm like, with everything that I have in my entire existence, pushing and pushing and pushing.
I think the nurses were like amazed. The doctor was clearly like you literally gave that shit everything.
And this whole time, Barry's holding my legs, Andre's holding, or you're holding my left leg, Andre's in the other leg. The OB's in front of me, shoving her hand in there, trying to do the best she can to like take Soul out, and it's not happening. Like, it's just not.
She said
happening.
That she moved her head, but that she just pulled back out.
Yeah.
Like her head just positioned back in a weird angle, so she couldn't get her out.
Yeah. So the third hour goes by, and I'm just like broken.
At that
and
point, we told her like,
sad.
if you can't pull her out.
Yeah, I literally looked at her and I was just like fucking irritated
Yeah.
because nothing was happening, and I was like, and there was one point where I had no epidural. She shoved her hand in there, and I literally yelled out her name.
And she got scared.
And she was like, I'm glad you told me like not to do that. But I think at that point, honestly, like knowing what I know now, I was just super helpless. Like it was just not gonna happen. Yeah. So we're going into the 4th hour, and she's like, this is the 4th hour?
She's like, this is last call for alcohol. Like this is it. And
if nothing happens, like we're cutting you up.
I think this is one of those like, remember the Titans 4th quarter, like you give it all, like you're fucking leave it all in the field, like we crazy, like the intense pushes that you pushed out, the fucking yells, the fucking nails in my skin, like everything, like I don't think you could have done more, to be honest. And at one point I got scared because I thought you physically were gonna like hurt yourself. I thought you were gonna get like a heart attack or something. Like you're thinking the worst thing. I'm thinking the worst things possible because of.
And I'm just like, I just need this baby to come out right now. Like at that point, I wasn't even like, I didn't care. Yeah. Like I didn't care what happened. Like I just wanted the baby to come out because we needed the baby to come out, and like that's what was supposed to happen. Like I was just, we're just gonna push, and like we're gonna push as hard as you can. And I'm also like defeated because we didn't take any. You can't take breaks.
Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know. It was just crazy.
So we get to the end of the 4th hour, and we got one last push, and the doctor just said, you know what, at this point, I don't think...
I'm going to drink my coffee so I don't cry.
At this point, I don't think we can do much more, and we should probably get into a C-section.
Start prepping for
a C-section.
The OR, as they say in Grey's.
And that shit was intense also.
So the whole time I pushed, too, like, everything is just so sad to me. But I think this is the saddest part. I can't say it. Okay, hold on, shut up. I couldn't look at you the entire time I pushed.
I know.
And I would look at Jess because I couldn't look at her because she was like in the corner.
It's okay.
And I just stop. I wasn't supposed to cry. This is the only episode I like cute into. I would look at Jess and I'd just like look at her and like really look like, how do I get myself, like help me help myself.
Yeah.
And there was literally like nothing to do, and I couldn't look at you like for the life of me.
Yeah, I think you felt defeated. I think you felt upset. I think you said, you were telling me like, let's go home. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't want to be here.
I was like, I regret like
you're like, I regret everything. And I'm just like, don't say those things. Like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna, even if we have a C-section, like our baby's gonna be here in a matter of hours. Like, we're gonna be okay. She's gonna be here. She's gonna be healthy. She'll be fine. I try to say as much positive things as I could, but you were emotionally done, physically done. And mind you, we're up since 2 a.m. Like you had a nap in between that, but you're physically exhausted, like all the pushing, all that stuff. So they prep us for surgery, and they basically tell us like, we're leaving this room where we had all our stuff set up, all of our bags, all of our everything. And they're like, we're going to take Arlene. You can't be there, they tell me, like until we put her under anesthesia because it's a sterile environment, so you're gonna have to wait outside. I'm just like, at that point, I'm just like, Arlene's hysterically crying. I can't leave her. Like, what the fuck? And so they give me a gown, they give me the shoes, they give me the cap. They're like, put this on.
Dude, wait and the worst part is like, we never looked into like a C-section, so I think this was like, my eyes were closed the whole time. I was crying the whole time. Like I didn't know what was happening. Like I didn't know, like my eyes were closed. So,
yeah,
like,
we didn't realize
I didn't know where the fuck I was going. Like I didn't know where Barry went. Like I honestly, I don't even think I cared like what happened. I had no idea like what recovery was like. I knew what the process was like more or less, but I never like really did research, which I regret because like that just was not like the plan, because I know like nothing ever goes as planned, but in my head like everything was right, everything was going in the right direction. So we were, like I said, on track to have like a normal delivery. So even what the doctor asked me, like, do you have any questions? I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything right now. Like nothing you say. Like she was trying to give me a pep talk, like saying like, you're so strong. And I was just like, I looked at her and was
You
like,
literally said like, save it.
I was like, stop talking. Like,
I
I
remember
don't
that.
want to hear it. And she was like, holy fuck. It's pretty bad. And I had my eyes closed the entire time. Like, I literally cried the entire time. I cried the entire time. I don't think I ever stopped crying. And I think just because I was disappointed, I felt like I failed. I felt like my body failed. Like, now I know, if I knew then what I know now, like, I don't think I would have felt as bad. I think there are many components of, like, my body and psychologically and, like, all the stress and, like,
It was a
stuff
lot
like
of
that.
emotions to kind of go through at the moment,
Yeah.
and we didn't count for any of that kind of stuff, so it was very difficult.
Yeah. I'll let you tell it from your point of view because I had my eyes closed the entire time, so I
So
have no point of view.
so whatever. So they get us out of the room where we were at, where we had all our bags. Jess, our doula, was there.
They kind of like basically just kicked her out,
kicked
which
her-
I feel
we
so
didn't-
bad
yeah,
about,
we didn't
but I
realize-
had no
We
idea.
didn't realize any of this until after the fact. So they prep you, they get the bed, they put you in a gown and all that kind of stuff, and they throw all our stuffs in a cart, and they are going to take it out somewhere. I don't know where they're going to take it. So Jess is kind of wrapping up our stuff, putting it in the carts. The bed rolls out of the room and goes into the operating room. So I'm following the bed. The bed goes into this big white, what you would expect the
So
operating room to look like.
scary.
And I can't go inside, but I can see when the bed goes in, how they set you up, and like the 4 or 5 doctors are in there.
So they take me into the room. I'm in the room. It's cold in there. What I remember is that I was pissed. Like, and when I get pissed, and I don't want to see anybody and I don't want to talk to anybody, but I didn't have a choice. So I'm pissed, and I remember they're like putting me onto the different bed, which is like the bed where they're going to operate. And then I'm crying still. So one of the guys that's there, I don't know what his role is, but he's like, what's her deal? And my doctor looks at him and she's like, she doesn't want to be here right now. And
Because mind you, C-sections are very common. They're very easy procedures
them.
in general. Like, this is just, they knock it out. Like, a baby will be in and out like 10 minutes, and they wrap you
and they
up.
go about it like it's just another day. Like, they were talking about shopping, like at, I think like the Irvine Spectrum or something.
Yeah.
Like, while they're operating me, and you're just kind of like.
And again, they're normal procedures, but just to us, like, for what we endured and what we experienced before that, like, it was
a lot.
It was a lot to take in.
So they put me on the table. That happened, and the doctor she talks to me because my eyes are still closed and I'm still crying. And she's like, "Is there music that you want to listen to? Like, typically that helps you, like, you relax, blah blah." And I'm still on my like, "Don't talk to me." So the room was quiet, and all you can hear was them talking the entire time. And then they put what is this called? They cover it so you can't see. And then they start doing, like, they put the little blade on your body to see if you can if you feel sensation or not, because you're not supposed to feel anything from your stomach down. And they did it one time to me, and I still felt something, and that freaked me out a little bit. Like, inside, I didn't react to it. That freaked me out because I was like, God damn it. Like, am I going to feel something like when they actually cut me? And then I was like, I still feel it. And so they did it again. And once they did it again, I didn't feel anything anymore. And I think at that point it was like, all right, we're ready to go. And then you came in.
So they say it should take 10 minutes for her to get her anesthesia in. And then after that fact, you can come in. So I'm sitting outside in this chair, outside of the operating room, just kind of like, what do I expect? And like, your parents are blowing me up, and I don't know why your parents were outside of the hospital, and they couldn't go in the room, but they freaked out because they didn't hear from us for so long. So her mom called me and was like, "Yeah, what's going on?"
Because I think you told them the baby should be hurt.
And then and then they didn't hear from us, so they freaked out.
They freaked out.
I told them we were gonna have a C-section, and they were freaking out also because they knew that's not what we wanted.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting outside at that point. 10 minutes passed by, nothing. 15 minutes passed by. I think it was like 20 minutes, and I was just like thinking the worst. Like, what's taking so long? What's going on? Like, panicking. Like, I've seen too many fucking movies and shows to like, it's the worst.
Be happy.
So then we go inside. So then I go inside. You're laid out with your arms wide across like that.
Oh my God, I'm so traumatized. Every
And-
time I see Grays now with like the arms wide open, I'm just like,
and you're like shivering. Like your mouth,
so
your
cold.
teeth are like clanking, and like you're cold, and you're like, I can't breathe.
and I had like all the meds at this point.
And you told me you couldn't breathe, and then you were like freaking out. And I told the nurse, I was like, "Oh, she said she can't breathe." And she
I
was like,
felt like I couldn't breathe. Had they started operating it?
"I believe."
Yeah,
so.
I think so, because I think everything happened so fast because the baby came out like that. But you're laying there with the arms out and you're shivering, and it's funny because we had seen videos of this, of like
Yeah.
people shivering, and I was just like, being in there and like being the person, getting operated on is like crazy. And I was shaking a lot, and like no matter what you do, you can't stop shaking. Like you
Yeah.
can't
So
control
that
yourself.
freaked me out.
That freaked me
The nurse
out.
said like, no, we're monitoring her. She's okay. She has like oxygen. She's fine. And
Yeah,
I
but
was like,
the
all
whole
right.
time I was like, Barry, I can't breathe. Like
Yeah.
I can't breathe.
So I'm like, they give me a stool to be like right at your head while you're laying down. I don't know what the fuck to expect. And once I get in there, I think it takes like less than 10 minutes, and the baby comes out.
I can't talk about it.
What? She had a lot of hair.
Yeah, she had a lot of hair. We were both like, what?
We're like, whose kid is this?
She had so much hair.
That's the one thing we noticed from her. Like, yeah, like the hair. She had a lot of hair. Like when they showed her over the film.
When the baby come out, you looked at someone, you started crying. And you were like, that's our baby. And then I think we had like the, oh shit, she has a lot of hair moment. And then they asked me, do you want to hold her? And I couldn't. Like there was no way. So I said, give her to him.
Yeah.
And you took her.
But I think
And I don't know what happened
it
after
was hard because like I was holding on to you and like to hold on to the baby, and I think they took the baby to go weigh her and do all the things.
You went with her.
I went
Right.
with her to go cut the umbilical cord. I did all that, and that was a crazy moment. And that shit felt weird. It's not what I expected to feel, to be honest.
I think I'm sad about that because I think I still tell you, like, you're the first one to hold her. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm still sad about that. But also, like, I didn't get to experience that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hard, too.
It was just such a weird situation, not what we expected. But ultimately, like, I still look back at it and think, you know what, our baby's healthy. She came out fine. Like everything, she had,
She's so long.
10 fingers, 10 toes. Everything was normal. So that was the best, most important thing to me. So once the baby's out, you think you're done, but it takes another 45 minutes to wrap you back
Oh, my
up.
God, yes. And I was still pissed.
Yeah.
I was over it. Like, I had been over it. So I literally looked up and I was like, are you almost done? Like, with my little attitude. And she's like, oh, no, we have another 45 minutes. And now after seeing, like, videos of C-sections, there's, like,
Layers.
6 layers that they need to sew up and, like, cut through to have all this happen. So that's what they did. And then
But fast forwarding, we wrapped up. They took us to like a brief like room to check your vitals and all that kind of stuff.
And I think at that point I was okay because
you saw the baby and you
saw
got
the
to hold her
baby.
on the way out, and like you held her the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of put you in a better emotional state. Like this
Yeah.
is our kid, and like we FaceTimed our parents. They saw the baby. It was a very emotional experience, and it was kind of like, oh shit, like she's here. Like, this is ours. Like now what?
Yeah.
But so they take us from that room and we go into, they transport us to an actual, like I guess our room where you sleep and stay and watch the baby and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So right there you have dedicated nurses that come in, they check you, they make sure you have ice, water. If you can eat, they give you like yogurts. And
can we tell that story real quick?
Arlene hadn't ate since 2 a.m. the day before, so she was starving.
Love to eat, if you know me.
They said, it might take a couple hours, if not a day, for you to like be able to eat. But they're like, if you can have Jell-O. You can have Jell-O and pudding. So they brought you Jell-O and pudding, and you were able to eat it, and you were like, can I have more? And they're like, yeah, if you can,
like 6 Jell-O.
If you can hold it down, you can have it. So they gave you more. You had like 6 of them, and I think the last one was like a pudding, and you threw it all up.
Yo,
they had to come and clean the entire bed.
Like fucking Halloween, like slime.
Yeah.
I threw up, and then they had to come clean my whole bed.
Cedars was an amazing place to have recovery in, because you had your dedicated nurses. Oh my God, yes. They had lactation specialists. We had one nurse in particular, Bahar.
I love you. If you ever watch this,
you're the best.
You're the shit.
She saw us physically like done. Yeah. Like it was night 2 and we hadn't slept, and she's like, you know what? You guys need to sleep. If the baby cries, I'll come in. Yeah, I'll change her diaper. I'll feed her. I'll swaddle her. Whatever. You guys sleep.
Yeah.
So we were able to get a little bit of sleep in, and we stayed there for 3 days.
We stayed there for 3 days, and the only reason we stayed there for an extra day, we were only supposed to be there 2 days, which like, in no world, I'm sorry, like if you're a badass and you get up and you're fucking all good after a C-section, shout out to you, because that was not the case. My legs are like full on balloons. The pain is crazy. The stomach pain, like not being able to walk, like having to get up.
Using the restroom.
We didn't have any help. So
usually you have like your family come and help you, but it was literally me and Arlene, and
Barry did everything.
I became a registered nurse at that point.
He's a registered nurse. He wiped the down theirs, the all of theirs, everything. And he really, really took care of me that entire time. But it was
Yeah,
really hard.
I really appreciate that time we had there, because it taught us a lot about how to recover, how to take care of the baby. The nurses were there teaching us how to bottle feed the
Yeah.
baby, how to hold her, how to swaddle her. We had a lactation specialist come and teach you how to breast pump,
Pump and
feed,
feed.
latch. Everything you can think of was provided by the hospital. We had the rash came back, so we asked them to
Yeah.
send a dermatologist to come and actually tell us what it is, so we know mentally what it is.
Yeah. I didn't feel
And
comfortable leaving the hospital, like, unless I knew what it was,
yeah,
because the second day my rash flared up really bad,
yeah,
like almost as bad as the day when that same day, like
yeah,
that same time in the morning, like it was really, really bad. And I just remember like breaking down again, like taking in mind they had just cut me up, like
yeah.
my legs are swollen, I can't do anything, and I have to like get up, try to pee, like everything happens so fast, and you're expected to kind of recover
Just
so
go home, yeah.
fast and like go home, but that's just not the case. So my rash came back that second day, and I told you like I'm not going home unless I have a diagnosis. And so they came and like they told us like we really think it's PUP, so they gave me a steroid cream. And then after that everything was a lot better, so we were only recovering for 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days.
After the 3 days, we were able to get discharged. I mean, just putting the baby in the car seat for the first time, like I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect. I don't know if I was doing it right. Like you try to prepare as much as possible, but until you're in that moment, like it's very like just driving home was scary. But
Yeah.
we made it home. Your parents were there. Because of COVID, we couldn't have any other people there. My parents didn't show up until
I think like 2 days after.
2 days after. So it was a weird experience, but having the baby home was such a crazy experience. Like now this is our responsibility. We have to feed her. We have to change her. We have to
We did a good job. She's 2 months now.
make sure she's okay. She's 2 months now. She's happy. She's crying, pooping, smiling, everything
She's
that,
so cute.
everything we expected. And,
And then also like everyone that has followed our journey, I don't think it's very many people, but if you've watched this and like on Instagram, like everyone has been so sweet. And I don't think, like I tell you all the time, like I don't have friends, because I kind of don't, and like I don't see my family at all.
yeah.
So it's very hard. So when people reach out like about Soul or like about us, like you guys are like my online friends, because
No, it's crazy the amount of support we've had. My sister set
Yeah.
up like a food train for a couple weeks, like because obviously we didn't get any sleep the first couple weeks. We couldn't have time to grocery shop, to cook, none of that stuff. So she set it up where friends and family were able to send us food through Postmates,
Yeah.
send us coffee, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And
And I think it's like a lot of people that we're not even that close to, or like just people that we know, and like the people who actually stepped up and like really helped
we're
us.
the people we least expected.
Yeah, we're the people we least expected, and the people that like sent us gifts when we were still pregnant. Like we really appreciate all of that stuff,
Yeah,
because it means a lot. And
emotionally, it definitely took a toll on all of us. I mean, you
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, we could talk about this in another episode, but you
Yeah.
definitely got the baby blues.
Yeah,
We definitely had a whole episode of
we'll
all
do
that.
a postpartum one, because that's like a whole different story, and that's hard.
Yeah,
I would
but-
look at balloons and cry, but I'll tell you guys about that in another episode.
But ultimately, everything worked out. It was definitely a crazy journey, as you can tell. It's not what we planned for. It's not what we expected. It's not anything you can really
prepare for. And I think like I annoy you with this a lot, but I don't have anyone else to tell really, and like you're my fiance now, so you kind of just have to put up with it. I don't think, I've said this like a million times, but I don't think I was like prepared, and I'm very much a person that likes to prepare and likes to be ready, and like my whole planner situation,
Yeah.
I'm very on point. So for me, having been in this position and not being able to help myself was very, very hard. And now I've done more research, and now
There's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but I think
Yeah.
even that's not where
but
you
I also
should
think
be
that's
at.
helpful for like other people that can possibly like avoid going through this. So I like final words, I guess, like do the research, do it all. Your plan is probably not going to go as planned. I hope it goes as planned. Just be prepared, know your options. I always say like I obviously said I regretted it in the moment, and honestly like I kind of did, and I kind of still do, and like I think about it all the time. Like there's not a post that doesn't that I see, you know, that I get triggered, like little things trigger me, people asking me like very specific questions triggers me, like I still get triggered about a lot of things. And now like doing research, and I joke around, but I'm like, if we had another baby, like I definitely do this, or like I would do that. Like now I know what my options could have been. So just be super informed about your options.
There's a lot we can look back on, and there's different things we could have done, different routes we could have taken. We could have waited, you know, but I think given the cards we were dealt with, the rash and everything, I think
we did what we had to do in that moment.
That's why I think I try to tell you, like, there's nothing we could have done differently because of the situation we were dealt with. And I think we can replay the fucking game all over in our head and try to restage it. But at this point, you know, we have a healthy baby. You're healthy. We're still recovering, but
I'm still recovering.
You know, it's a journey, but we have the support of a ton of amazing friends and family, and I think we need to be appreciative of that and just be appreciative that our baby's healthy.
I tell you this all the time, and I don't even mean it in a mean way, and I know you know that, but like, women are the shit.
Women are the shit.
Women are the shit.
I think I saw you. I think once you like delivered the baby, I was like, you can have whatever you want, like a push present, name it. Like
we're still waiting. Like comment below if you're still waiting for my push present.
Show me your finger.
No, my
show me your finger.
The
camera. Yeah, fuck a push present.
I mean,
your budget's been spent.
Anyway, I just have a new found appreciation for women and the female body.
Likewise.
And like even just like not pregnant or like not being a mom, like
just in general, like
in
the things
general,
you gotta go through and
the things you go through, the things we do, the things we're capable of doing, and even beyond being pregnant, because postpartum, whole different story. Taking care of a baby, whole different story. It is just a lot, and we do a lot. And whether you had a baby naturally through your vagina, or naturally because it's still natural through your freaking stomach,
you crushed it.
Yeah, we have a lot of reasons to be proud of, and a lot of reasons like I tell. The one last thing, like, you know how like machismo exists, and how like men think they're the shit. I really don't know why.
This is going in a different direction. But anyways.
Anyway, thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning in. This is our labor story. It wasn't as funny as I expected it. I mean, I didn't expect it to be funny.
There was nothing funny about our labor story.
But, you know, hopefully you guys...
I don't know
what you get out of it.
People voted, though. I did a poll, and I was like, do you guys want the labor story or the engagement story first? And
engagement story is next, but
the labor story.
I think honestly, since we're not able to see a lot of friends and family, like, this is the only real way we can express our story or express our emotions towards our experience and tell our stories. So we hope you guys, you know.
I don't know. There's a lot of C-section moms out there, so I hope you can relate. Like, cry with me, message me. I told you I have a friend on Instagram that also had a C-section, so she's been helping me out a lot. I'm happy to help other people. Whatever if I can be helpful to you.
And as always,
if you
please
just need to vent.
Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear next. So we're definitely gonna have our engagement segment next. So that's a whole different story in itself. But yeah, thank you guys for watching again, and we out.